Hello YouTube, welcome to another episode of Plays for Days. Today we're just throwing up our profile for the Vennominaga type deck we were running this week. This is a very rough draft. We made this in like 15 minutes, but me and Rel had been discussing it for a while, and it's like once they get that soul charge, the Curry Bandit online, we want to see what we can do with that stuff in a Vennominaga deck.
And as you guys could see, it worked out pretty well.
It
worked out like this was one of the fastest decks I've seen, like out of the Vennominagas. It like got her out so fast.
Yeah. Like, by no means is this a perfect deck, and I'm sure people will look at this and be like, oh, where's this? We just made it in 15 minutes to see if it would work. And because of Soul Charge and stuff, it's honestly not a bad deck.
No, like I would definitely recommend you guys trying it. And
because Venom's, like the Vennominaga, Venominion stuff, it's never been like a tier 0 deck at all.
No.
But this is actually like putting it up there in a little bit of like, it could be a fun, somewhat competitive deck.
Yeah, because we made a lot of people quit, and like it won like the majority of the games. We had a couple losses, but that's due to like playing some weird decks. Like we were playing like a normal card deck, and all we had was like Fiendish Chains, and but it was doing very well, like against really like pretty legitimate decks. Yeah, pretty legit decks. So.
No, it's definitely a fun deck to play too.
So you basically just get her out and you win. She's like one of the best boss monsters in the game. Yeah. Very hard to use because Reptilian's never really had much.
Yeah, and she was one of the first short print secret rares, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure she was short print, but we could be wrong. But I think she was.
Yeah, because I remember she was difficult to play, but she was still a very expensive card because she was very hard to get.
Yeah, way long ago.
Yeah.
But let's get into the deck profile. So we run one of her.
Obviously.
That's the point of the deck. That's your win condition. That's what it's all about. Yeah. You could run two. Some people run two, but I find one. One's where it's at. I mean, if worst comes to worst, you could always get her back with the Gusto Emerald.
It's a lot of player preference, and one of the other reasons we thought about playing two, we'll go over later.
Yeah. And we run three of him. We do run trade-ins, and we do run Snake Rains to discard them.
Because of the way we want to run this deck, it's very important to try and get him into the grave as fast as possible.
And he wasn't really ever dead. Like, we'd either get Snake Rain or we'd get trade-in. So.
Yeah. Like, we have 3 Snake Rains and 2 trade-ins, so that's 5 cards for 3.
Yeah. And we have 3 of him. Zex, I think it is.
Yeah, 3 Zex. 3 of the Searcher, the Kartaros, and 3 of the Yagon. That's our basically worm engine to...
And obviously you guys know how it works. You summon him, you send him to grave, you bring him back and face down. When he's flipped, he's a Compulse. Yeah. Has pretty solid defense, 18. He has pretty decent attack, 18.
Yeah, it sends your worms... it sends your reptiles through the grave pretty quick.
Yeah.
And Yagon's a good target for your Snake Rain, so...
Yeah. And the 3 Kages, because it's part of your XC plays. It's not bad going ham and Kage.
Yeah.
Or just
you can
whatever.
Even summon your Yagon.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anything, just to exceed. If you need an Exciton, 101, something.
Yeah.
Death's Feral Imps.
Yeah.
King of the Feral Imps, I mean. And 3 Curry Bandits. He's the new one.
Yeah. He's a nice addition to this deck, simply because you get to mill the top few cards of your deck and any of the Speller Traps added to your hand, whether that's your Snake Rain, your Rise, whatever you need.
Even Soul Charge.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. He works very well with a lot of cards. Like if you Snake Rain, then you use him. You can just add what you're missing. If you're missing a Soul Charge, if you're missing a Rise, if you're missing Limit Reverse, anything, you can add it.
And a lot of times when our Venominion didn't really have a whole lot of attack, he was just key in getting that attack up.
And the thing you risk though with him is you could mill her out.
Yeah.
Which is the only risk, but that never happened to us. And if it ever did, you can use things like Soul Charge or Limit Reverse and just summon, and you can go into Degusto Emerald.
Yeah.
And you can just throw it back in, but that's never happened. That was never an issue.
No. So, and maybe there are other ways to get around it and stuff, but we never ran into the issue.
No.
It's kind of a rare occurrence in a 41 card deck to just mill that one specifically, but
yeah. And that was all the monsters we used. You could throw a BOS in there because you do run darks and
it's all darks and
lights, and
and it's pretty split between the two, so it is playable, but you want to stick to as many reptiles as possible.
Because by then you're going to start banishing reptiles, and that's no good. Your Vennominaga is not going to be very strong. Same with him.
Yeah, like even preferably, you could almost play more reptiles, but
Yeah.
It's such a hard deck to find space in.
And he also banishes himself if you bring him out with Zex. So you got to be careful, but that was never an issue. I mean, you can still set him if you're worried and just compulse.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the monster lineup. And to the spells, obviously 3 Snake Rain. It's an incredible card. It's like a painful choice.
Yep.
It's incredible. Discard 1 card, send 4 reptiles to the grave.
Yeah. The nice thing about that is it's 1 card. So if for whatever reason you drew into like 2 soul charge, you only realistically need the 1. Pitch it, send your guys to the grave, soul charge, set up your play.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just really nice. Usually we end up dumping like 2 of him. We keep 1 for like a trade-in. We dump 2 of them, and then we usually dump 1 of these guys depending on the hand. And yeah, 1 of him. Yeah. Because he can bring himself out with Zex. And yeah, just whatever you need.
It's just good to throw 2 in the grave because there's always the odd chance 1 could get deprisoned, 1 could get compulsed, whatever.
Yeah.
You want to try and keep as many live. But at the same time, you don't want to send all 3, just in case you do get that trade-in.
Yep. And obviously the 2 trade-in, I think 2 is enough. I don't want to go 3. I don't really want 1. 2 is good enough.
No, and even sometimes it is kind of clunky.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have when it does go off.
Yeah. And 3 Soul Charge, that's the other new one. It's an incredible card.
It's like the big playmaker of the deck, I find.
Yeah.
Like one of our plays we do with it all the time is whip out a Venom minion, 2 level 4s, go into a Diamond Dire, pop it, activate our Rise of the Sneak Deity. Boom, there
That's
you go.
it. It's like instant. It's an incredible card. It can like instantly like make you Vennominaga if you have Rise in her and a whole bunch in the grave.
Yeah.
Which is pretty easy.
It's a good recovery card too if something bad happens.
Yeah. I mean, like you can even have her and you can go Exciton or 101.
Yeah. And not
do anything.
Not being able to conduct your battle phase is not a huge deal.
No.
When you have the Vennominaga, that's basically indestructible.
And if you have her and you're having trouble, you know, getting some reptiles in the grave, you just bring them back, go into the Feral Imp,
go into your Lavalval Chain.
Yeah, Lavalval Chain. Like, it's an incredible card in here. It's really powerful.
It's the playmaking card, I find.
It's incredible in any deck.
Yeah.
But, and then the 1 Foolish, yeah, dump whatever you need. You need him in there, yeah, dump him in
there. You got a Zex in hand, you could dump a Yagon if you want 2 in there, just in case.
Whatever you need, so it's there. And 2 MSTs, you could bump it up to 3. It's hard to find space. Again, like, space is the only problem in this deck.
The big windfall for this deck is stuff like the Soul Mourning that can negate your Rise. Yeah, so having a couple MSTs is always a good idea.
And Rise is, yeah, obviously mandatory. It's what gets your card out. The best card, one of the best cards in the game. Yeah,
running it at 3 is pretty much mandatory because you want to try and get her out as fast as possible.
So you just got to be careful, though. It's only if it's destroyed except by battle. So yeah, battle doesn't count. So like we were saying, you can Diamond Dire it. You could probably Excite on it. I don't know.
You could Torrential if you really want to.
Yeah. The best, though, is also with this. If you activate this is the next card, the Offerings to the Deity.
This is your next best thing to
Icarus.
Yeah.
This is like an Icarus attack, basically.
Target 1 face-up reptile, destroy 2 cards your opponent controls.
Yeah, destroy yours and destroy their 2.
They destroy all 3 at the same time, and then you just whip out your Vennominaga.
Yeah, you Rise, so it's really nice to use it with him.
Yeah. And one of my favorite tech cards for this deck.
Yeah.
Limit Reverse.
This card's incredible.
I end my turn. End phase, Limit Reverse. Main phase 1. Switch to defense. Boop. Rise.
Yeah, and she's out. Easy. Really cool card.
It's just hilarious. It's like, I'm going to hide. Nope. No, you're not. Dead.
And for the last of it, we run 3 Fiendish. Again, you could run whatever you want. Effect negation is important in the game today. And
especially with like JDs and stuff running around. Exciton Knights running around.
Just everything, 101s. Everything. You want to negate effects. That's another reason it's 41, but it worked out great at 41. I mean, I would cut it down to 40 if I could. And I would,
like I said right at the beginning too, this is a very rough cut of the deck. There's probably a lot of stuff we could do to it. Like you could run the reptilian build of this too.
Yeah, there's that reptilian build, but
I'm not sure how much more consistent or better it would be. But it is always an option too. Yeah. This is just the first thing we went with. So
yeah, I really like the worm build. That was just my preference. I've tried the reptilian build. I built it in real life. Yeah. Vennominaga, but I really prefer this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of what I have it. I wish I could run things like Upstart. Start Hobening, make the deck smaller, technically 37, and maybe run like Warning, but it's just so tight for space that Fiendish Chain was just too important for me to let down, like to not include into the deck.
Well, and then the other thing too is with everybody running around with Soul Charge, doing the upstarts isn't always the best option anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I know you could argue like, oh, I can run like 2 Soul Charge. You're never going to get off like that many, maybe. I mean, sometimes you might pay 1,000 here or there, but
it's your playmaking card.
It is the playmaker. I mean, like, I would run like Viper Reborn or something.
Viper's Rebirth.
Yeah, Rebirth.
But we have the Curry Bandit.
Yeah, Curry Bandit. So this is why I chose this instead, and I think this is way better. I would run this at 3 in here.
Especially because if you are running the Viper's Rebirth, that means you're not exceeding either.
Yeah.
Because most of your exceeds are not reptiles.
Yeah, and it dies at the end phase, which is mostly for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that's the main deck. Into the extra deck, we run 2 of the King of the Feral Imps.
There's only a couple of like exceedingly important cards to mention in here, which is the King of the Feral Imps, because he's a reptile.
This card's not bad, this one. If you can get it off to flip and then attack with the Venom, the deity.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can get it off.
Yeah, but King of the Feral Imps, he's a reptile himself, and he can search out any reptile. That includes a Kage if you want to do another Xyz play next turn. That includes any of your worm cards if you want to do those plays.
Yep, any reptile.
The other main important card in this deck is the Lavalval Chain, though.
Lavalval Chain's the next biggest one.
He sets up your plays really good. Like, if you didn't get your Snake Rain, you need to get a Venominion in the grave. He's your trump card.
Yeah, you just overlay, send him to grave, limit reverse.
Yeah. And pretty much anything else you throw in there is just going to be rank 4 good stuff.
Yeah,
you got your Cowboy, your Dweller.
This guy's pretty interesting. He's neat. He's new.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Maze Stroke. I think like when you run him in combination with 101, I don't think you need to run Maze Stroke.
No.
Realistically, these two.
Because the one is going to protect you from blowing up and stuff like that. The one can flip face down or throw back into the deck.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's a really powerful effect.
Yeah.
And yeah, the 101's always good, and it's easy to whip out with Soul Charges, or you can just summon, limit reverse.
Yeah. Plus he's generic, that new guy.
And the other one would be Exciton, I guess, that you can go into, because she won't die.
Yeah.
If you just really want to push hard.
Yeah. The rest of the stuff is player preference. Like you said, the Paffy.
Yeah.
Because when people start to see that Vennominaga, they get defensive.
Yeah, they switch everything to defense, so...
Yeah.
And some of the other cards you could play in here, Xseeds, you could play him. He was interesting. You could play Omega. There's a lot of lights. All the worms are lights. You could play him. They're all lights again. You could play Roach, Maze Stroke. I just decided to take Maze Stroke out because there's these two. And just some things I kind of thought about. Allure, some Pot of Dualities. Pot of Duality is good to get to the pieces. If you have him and you need a trade in or some Pot of Duality, you might draw into it.
The only big reason I think we took out Allure was because any of the dark monsters you grab, you don't necessarily want to banish.
No.
Especially if it's your Venom Minions, especially if it's your Curry Bandits, and not very often do you really want to remove a Kage.
No, he's there. He's like your failsafe. If something goes to shit, you can just like summon out a 4 on him.
Summon out Zex, Kage, throw a Yanma or Yagun.
Yeah,
whatever.
And you can.
I can never remember the worm names.
It's Zex and Yagun or whatever. But yeah, you just overlay. You can go Exciton really easily, or Lavalval Chain, like we were saying.
Yeah.
So and then the other one was you can run, I guess, another one of this, but I find that's too much. I mean, usually we're dumping with Snake Rain into the grave, so we're gonna have a ton in there, and we might not draw into too many monsters.
Yeah.
So I think at 2 it's just right.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't run 3.
Well, it's a really fun deck, though, and I'd love to hear some other people's opinions on the deck, some of their ideas and stuff, because I'm sure there's like other cards out there we completely overlooked that could help this deck out too.
But for what it is, it worked out very well. Like, this build is very powerful. I'll definitely recommend you guys trying it. It really did well for us. We lost only like once or twice.
Yeah.
And it was just to like the most awfulest matchups.
It was awful matchups and just like the worst possible hands for the situation.
But it actually beat some solid decks, Light Swarms and some other stuff, as you guys will see in our videos.
No, it's just like you top deck, you get that Snake Rain, you get a couple of Fiendish Chains, like, yeah, that looks good. And then you face a normal monster deck, and it's like...
The hell plays a normal monster deck? Like 2 Fiendish Chains, I felt great. Oh yeah, Fiendish. And it's like, no, it's all normal. Even the tributes are normal. Yeah. It's expecting a Kai's.
No, so... Yep. For sure, though, let us know any tech cards you might think of, like a different build if it's more consistent.
Yeah. I mean, like the only other one I know is that Reptilian build. and the worm build. So
you could play like a beatdown version, I guess, if you want to play the shock trooper and stuff.
Yeah, you could in Rescue Rabbit, but yeah, I think this is one of the solid. This is the solid one. I think this is the way to go.
Yeah.
With the worms, but yeah, tell us what you guys think, and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.
Bruce.